Lori with To the Trade, and I have Niall here as always. Hi, Niall.
Hi.
And we have Meredith Huck with us today. Very excited to talk to you, Meredith. This has been a long time coming. We wanted to have you on. We're very excited to have you on one of our panels at High Point. So
I'm
very
here
excited to talk to you.
in all my beige glory with you guys.
I know we're all beige. We match today.
Totally
Did not
unplanned.
text each other
Totally.
either.
We did not.
We were just on the same wavelength.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why. I was like, I want to be. This time of year. You're like, you want to be warm, but you want to kind of feel like you're spring a little bit, or at least I do. I'm ready for the spring. I'm ready for like some actual sunshine.
Yeah.
So much,
I don't
so
know what that
much.
is currently in
I know.
Connecticut. It's like day 74 of dreary, like
I know.
non.
I'm in New Hampshire, so totally get
You
it.
got
And
it.
I'm only going to. I would like to say I'm only going to High Point for the sunshine. I'm hoping it happens for me.
Please, please,
Like,
please. Although
please.
everyone told me to bundle up because the rooms are so cold. So there's that.
Us? I don't know. Mine has we always get an Airbnb, so I don't know if that's better or worse, but we'll see how that goes. I'm very nervous about it. So you've been in software sales before design for a long time, right?
Of corporate
13
software
years.
sales.
So
I
I
was
was
like
in
not even design software sales, like payroll.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Wow.
I was in before this industry in the corporate side doing like fine art reproduction, printer and product manufacturing. I was the consumable products manager for a long time. So I developed canvas and watercolor paper and inks and knew the people who invented the term giclée. I knew all that crew. So I totally get it. I mean, I'm very, the sales reports and, you know,
A little different
love,
than what
love,
it
love
used to
that,
be.
that
Just a
that
little.
side too. Yeah. Very different though. Very different. What made you want to get into design?
Okay, so everyone had, well, maybe not, but everyone's got like a little, I don't even want to call it a side hustle because I wasn't making money on it, but just like the passion, right? The passion project. My husband loves our lawn. I loved designing, but in a very like, oh, I watch those HGTV shows. Like, let me go to Home Goods and redo the console. Like, nothing serious. 3.5, almost 4 years ago, which is bonkers to me. I was at a huge crossroads and I had been doing, again, software sales for 13 years and just felt like this never ending like hustle. Because in software sales, at least where I worked at primarily 3 different companies. One was HR and payroll, one was procurement software, and then was like kind of staffing software, we'll call it. You started the month ended. Then you had to start the next month. Like you were always chasing the next goal. And
Oh,
I'll be honest,
always.
I remember making
Sandbagging. Remember, like you're sandbagging to get your next
yeah,
month going for your
I'm
last.
a
Oh,
sandbagger. Love
all
me
of
some
it.
sandbagging. Yeah, because you're like, okay, I've maxed out my commission for the month and I know that deal's coming. So let me just wait. Sorry, guys. It's the truth
Yeah.
if any of my former bosses are listening. But I
Everyone
remember
gets
one year, kicked butt. I made President's Club. I made the Falcon Club, which is like one step ahead of President's Club. I went on, well, I didn't go, I was pregnant, but I was invited to the President's Club like red carpet trip that year. It was in Whistler, British Columbia. I hit my plan, my annual plan in month 4. I mean, I was killing it. The next year, mind you, I had had a baby, so like throw me a bone, was way slower. I was on like a performance plan, and it's like it was this hustle. So anywho, I was at this point, my daughter was 3 at the time, my son was 4 at the time. In 3 years, my daughter would be going off to kindergarten. I was like, I think I'm just going to do this. I think I'm going to like try design. I have my real estate license. So if I get like bored or suck at it, I'll sell some houses. And if in 3 years I'm not successful, whatever that meant to me, right? Like Niall, Lori, it might mean something totally different to you than it means to me. But whatever success meant, if I wasn't successful in 3 years, I'll go back to corporate. I had so many wonderful relationships with sales managers and sales directors and partnership sales and my clients and my vendors. Like I was not worried about getting a job. That was July of 3.5 years ago. Hold on, do the math. So that's what, 2022? Yeah. Okay. I like 1 month in, I'm like, yeah, I'm never going back. And
Wow.
I just loved the relationship aspect of the business. I loved the business aspect of design. And I remember thinking, okay, if I can make $10,000 by the end of the year, like for some reason I had that number in my head of being like good. which like, oh my God, that's terrible. But I think I can
That's
do it.
okay. You
And
start having it, right? Like we all
by
have to
like month
believe.
2, I was there and I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I wait so long? So yeah, it was a weird moment in time that I just felt like I'm constantly rushing and hustling and up early and staying up late and traveling and like for what? To max out my commission? Whoop-de freaking do. So yeah, I said see
At
ya.
least this
And
time you own your own destiny. This time you get to make the rules, you know?
yeah, and I wasn't planning on a third, but we did have a third.
Oh,
And yes, and I get very sick
congratulations.
during my pregnancies. And I had at the time I had maybe like 5 active clients. I basically shut it down and just focused on those clients throughout my pregnancy. And obviously the project started to end. So by the time I had our son, he's a year now. So a year ago, I had like 2 projects. That was it. It was nice and slow. I do remember like a couple days after having him, yeah, I was emailing, but like on my own terms and my own time. And it gave me this gratification that it was just a little bit, right? Like I don't personally like to sit around and do nothing, like watch White
Sure.
Lotus. I don't know. And I, yeah, then once I felt ready, I started that business development again and started growing the business more and all the things. But just being able to do things how you want, when you want, I can't imagine working in corporate. I don't know. I know so many people have wonderful experiences. That's awesome. Not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that that's the same story that a lot of designers really have, and they've gotten into the design industry because of the flexibility, especially as a mom. I mean, it's really great that you can kind of set your schedule. And sometimes that will look like overworking to some people because maybe you were able to take like the afternoon off and go to a
Yes.
game or something, right?
You nailed, oh my gosh, Lori, I was chatting with someone recently who felt badly for me. It was like the day after Christmas and I was getting some emails out. And they were like, I cannot believe you're like so busy that you have to like work on December 26th. Like, and I was like, what? Absolutely not. Like, I might work on Memorial Day this year. And then I'm actually this entire week, I essentially took off. I've just had too many meetings and was getting a little too behind. And so I did not have any meetings this week. Literally, this is hypothetically my only meeting. And how cool that we get to do that. So to your
Yeah,
point, yeah, if I am
sure.
up late one night, but I also went to the field trip this morning. So
Right, right. And I think that that's a wonderful thing about being self-employed or a business owner and certainly a designer in this industry. I've talked to lots of women who own businesses, designers that feel that same way. It's like they get to be there for like the kids' concerts and the sports games and dropping things off at school and doing all of the things that, and some of the dads too, right, Niall?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not just the women, okay? Hello.
Wait a minute, not just women.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it that flexibility allows you to be an active participant in your children's
Yeah,
lives
it does.
and really
I
be
love it.
really, really be there, you
Yeah.
And
know?
it's truly like whatever sparks joy for you. It doesn't okay, it's not just women or it's not just children
No,
or it's
sure.
whatever. Like
Yeah.
if you want to go take a stinking nap, go for
Right.
it.
I'm with
Right.
that. Yeah.
Yoga
I
class, whatever.
Yeah, like what
You
do
know?
what makes your soul shine. And
Yeah.
work makes my soul shine right now, but also so do a bunch of
Yeah.
other things. I just started a girlfriend of mine in Florida. She's an interior designer. She was telling me that she does like the take and bake cookies every day for when she picks her kids up from the bus. And I was like, that's such an easy thing that I feel like would be a core memory to like come home to have your house smelling like cookies and like mommy gives you. And I just started doing that
That's
and
so
it makes me
cool.
I love
so
that.
dang happy.
That's so
I
cool.
Yes,
love
every day
things
at
like that.
3:32, the alarm
So
goes off for the cookies.
I love things like I have this whole probably I don't know how many years ago I started doing it, but I really started taking time to like what I call like romance your life, which is so cheesy, but I really do make time for little things to be special for my family or to be special for me or just it's so silly. It's just such silly things. Like I have playlists for different kind of foods, so I make a different playlist and I like put it on at night when I'm having dinner. Every night there's a different playlist
Awesome.
depending on how I feel about the dinner, you know. So if it's, you know, a certain kind of food, it might be based on that or might be a memory I had when my parents made it when I was younger. So it's based on that. Things like that. I have like tons and tons and tons of playlists, and I set the lighting and I do that, and I like that's my ritual for getting ready
You go,
for like
girl.
dinner. I just
That's
love
awesome.
things that make you feel just a little bit special, and I have that there was a saying that was going around. I want to say, like, I don't know, it was one of those meme things on Pinterest, and it was like, it only takes a little extra to go from ordinary to extraordinary. And I really believe that.
That's
Like
true.
that little
True.
Very true.
10% more or 10% more thought that makes something that just seems very ordinary be a little bit more special than that.
Coming
So
home from the
it's really-
bus.
yeah,
Yep.
wonderful. I love that. I love that. I bet your kids are gonna love that too. Have they freaking out about it? Because I
Well,
would be.
they
If I
love
were-
it. Except my son, who's like, these aren't that big. Can we? I'm like, buddy, come on. Like, I'm sweetheart.
You know what you
I
can
know they're
do
not massive.
sometimes
They're
as
not
a
mommy's homemade
special, like
cookies.
as a special treat. So I would just put them in the air fryer because that's faster and easier. So that would be my number one. And then I would probably some days let them have like a scoop of ice cream in between too, and make a homemade ice cream sandwich. Now that
Wait,
would be
Lori, do you know what my drug of choice is?
ice cream sandwiches.
Cookies and ice cream are my love language. If
Yes.
you feed me oh my gosh, my mouth is now watering. Some people like want to sit down and have like a glass of wine at night. I could not care less. I want to sit and have a bowl of ice cream with a cookie. Actually, one of my clients, my current client, my mouth is watering. Can you now tell? Thank you. They own an ice cream shop. And one day he took a picture of, he just like sent me a random text and it was a picture of, they have like those old school wooden signs for the flavors that it's like outside, it's right on the water in Norwalk, Connecticut. It's just so beautiful. And it said House of Huck. He made me
Aw.
an ice cream.
Oh,
I love it. What was in it? I want
That's
to know now what the
amazing.
flavor
Oh,
was
it's a
like.
vanilla base. Oh my gosh. Wow. Mr. Frosty, if you're listening, send me some. It's a vanilla base, Oreos, and Heath toffee. And it is
Ooh.
magic.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
That sounds awesome. So
So
Heath
good.
Bar ice cream, well, Ben and Jerry's back in the day used to make just the plain vanilla Heath Bar ice cream. They don't make it
That's
anymore.
nice.
It's only coffee version. I don't like coffee ice cream, so I'm bummed about
Mhm.
it. But they used to make a Heath Bar. And then my parents would make a homemade ice cream sometimes. And my mom loved Heath Bar ice cream. So we would break Heath Bars up and put them in. My dad had one of those like old churners with like you put the salt around and just
Yeah.
churn and churn and churn.
Now I
So
need to go get ice cream tonight. Thanks, guys.
so good. So good. You have to do it. And then you can put them in your homemade cookies and be like, there, take that. Bigger now,
Gotcha.
huh? I love it. So you have this new business. It's, post-pandemic time, and you're just starting the early days of House of Huck. What were some of the hurdles that you encountered? Because that's not easy. There had to have been something that you were like, man, this is hard to figure out.
I think the biggest thing for certain was like, there's no guideline, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you price? I don't know.
How do you price?
What do I do? What are my templates that I should have? How many times, there was a while where I wasn't giving my clients didn't have my phone number, which I have now given clients my phone number, but now I am very, very strict, for lack of better words, of who my clients are.
Yeah.
If you are not kind, you're just not my client. Because in the beginning, when I didn't know how to like find my ideal client or have that kind of light bulb go off, it's like, this person sounds like a jerk. I wasn't giving them my phone number because I didn't want to get a text at 7:00 on Friday that there's a design emergency and you must come immediately. Like, I'm not a heart surgeon, so
That's
I'm all
right.
set.
One thing I will just say, I want to push this in there here because this is a good tip, but you can get a Google number for all of you listening out there, and you can set hours on it where it doesn't get forwarded during your off hours. And that's sort of a workaround. If you do want to give people a number, but you don't want it to be your real cell phone number, you can sign up for a Google number.
Now they
But
get my
just
phone
let you know
number
that.
and I love, like I just said, I had a client
Yeah.
make an ice cream flavor after me. Gosh darn it. Like,
Yeah.
I think going back to your question, the hardest thing was just being like, am I doing this right? Is this how it's supposed to be? And I cannot stress enough, if anyone's listening that just is having those same thoughts, the other amazing part about this business is there is no right way.
No.
It has to be your way. And So I'm actually right now working with, if you know Brooke Stoll, shout out to her. She's a operations consultant for interior designers, and she is somewhat of a magical unicorn. Highly, highly recommend her. She's asking me, so we're going through our first intake, and she's talking about operations and how are you billing and this and that. And I bill flat fee. Okay, but you're tracking your hours, right? No, I'm not. She's like, really think you should be, this is why. And I said, okay, let me push back on that. The thought of tracking hours actually brings me anxiety. Like, I don't like numbers. I don't like math. I'm incredibly profitable. So I at least know whatever flat fee I'm coming up with and however I'm coming up with it is working. Because I mean, when people are like, oh, you lose money on flat fee. If I bill a powder room at $1 million of a flat fee, do we really think I'm losing? Like,
right.
You don't know what my flat fee is.
Right.
Don't automatically say, if you're flat fee, you lose money.
Right.
So that's number one. Because I get a lot of people wanting to do flat fee and they're like, but everyone says I'll lose money. Yeah, if you make it too low, you will. So anyways, sorry, getting back to Brooke, she was really pushing on at least tracking my hours. And that I have a girlfriend that bills hourly and she's like, my least favorite day of the month is like going through all the time and putting in the numbers and making sure it looks good and massaging the numbers and I don't want to do that. And I have such low overhead right now. And maybe once I have more employees and a studio and all the things, maybe I'll think differently. But currently today, in this time of my business, I bill flat fee and I don't track hours, period, end of discussion. And I can do it because
everyone is allowed to do it the way they want. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a licensed professional engineer and like need to do it by the books. Right. So that is one thing for sure in the beginning that I was like, am I doing this right? How many meetings should I have between the kickoff meeting and the design presentation? How do you do the design what is right? And once I like literally got out of my own way, it was just like, this works for me. And I'm going to attract people that appreciate that. And I have found I certainly have many faults, but one of my superpowers, like my clients right now are all my ideal clients. I find they're all in a similar phase of life than I am. I'll never forget driving an hour to this full home furnishing job I had in my first year. I no sooner walked through the door, the daycare called. She threw up, you have to come get her. And I'm like, I was meeting an architect there to discuss some plans. And I didn't even say anything because the client could hear it. I looked at my client. She said, get out of here. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
That's what I need. So I think just having clients that understand now how I work, and I am very process driven. I am very organized. So if I've had clients, or I'm sorry, not clients. I've had potential clients, like discovery calls, leads, that I'm just like, I hang up the phone. I'm like,
no way.
I don't even know what just happened, but like, I don't think we're a fit. Just because of like some of the questions and maybe like not a lot of people, some people ask like, will we go shopping together? We don't. I go to High Point and I shop and feel in touch and do that. And all of my sourcing is done from my desk. It's not like I'm not inviting you shopping. I don't go shopping.
Right.
So just hearing some of those questions and like really making sure, I know it's hard in the beginning, right? You want the client, you're like, I'll do anything for it. And you can. And I did. My first job ever, you guys, it was like a 4,000 square foot home. How cool is that? Was my first job ever.
That's great.
I'm 95% sure my design fee was $4,000 for a 4,000 square foot home.
Ouch.
We all do that though. Yeah. We all do that.
Yeah.
And you know what, Niall? Were you going to say mistake? Because I at first I thought it was a mistake and I was like, no, but was it?
And anybody that says they didn't do that is lying. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And we got great photos out of it. I've gotten new clients because of it.
Yeah.
But I'm like $4,000 on that.
Yeah.
That was, I probably made like 1 cent an hour just from how much I work.
I mean, at least you were like $1 a square foot. I think my first project was like, I don't know, it was close to 9,000 square feet. And I remember I only charged like 4,500. And they said to me, they were from Canada. They were like, it was a very, very modest fee or a very generous fee. They said, almost like prompting me to charge more. And I was just like, yeah. But they were a dream to work with. But I knew that they I mean, they knew I charged too little, and they wanted to let me know, but it just. So I think everybody does it. Everybody does it.
But you also need, you both are saying that the learning experience, because it's your first time, they know that they're getting someone who doesn't have the experience and is going to make mistakes. So either you're paying for it one way or you're paying for it the other way.
Yeah, and I will
You
say
know?
also, like, I still 3.5 years in, and I feel like my business is I'm still doing it. My daughter's in kindergarten this year, so like I've hit my quote unquote successful measure. I still will take on a client that, I have a minimum fee, a flat fee of $17,000, and I have a monthly management fee. And if you want me to style your shelves, I will happily do that for my minimum fee. Like no one's gonna hire anyone for $17,000 is kind of like
Right.
what I'm saying here, but there'll be plenty of times that I'll have a client reach out and they check off 4 of my 5 must have. So like, what's the location? Is it a location that I want more business in? And then also the location, meaning how far of a drive is it? Is it 2 minutes from my house or an hour and a half? Are they kind? Like, do they seem agreeable? My ice cream client, who I love, they approved 100% of my selections, 100%. And I could tell in the beginning that they were like, we trust you. Like, we're good at this. You're good at that. Like, just whatever Meredith says. So that's always something like, are they agreeable? What's their aesthetic? Am I going to photograph this? Are they amazing clients and it's super close, but it's like country farmhouse chic and like, I'll never photograph it. So if it knocks off enough of those checks, sometimes I am more flexible than others. Like I going back to Lori, what you asked, like what maybe was a mistake or a hurdle, like you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Literally, you could do a project for free if you want. I mean, I wouldn't, but like,
Right. But it's whatever you decide, you who are listening, if you want that, if that's what, I mean, it is up to you. I mean, we don't want you to take it and then, or do something like that and then later be resentful. That's the key, right? You want to do things you can live with.
Yeah. And you definitely, I once took a project and let it go off the rail. And also they gave every red flag, but it was like 6 months into business. So I was like, whatever. And at the end of the project, we actually parted ways. I think they wanted to fire me, but before they could fire me, I was like, hey, this is not working. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I blame myself for this, because to your point on you can't be resentful, I went off my process. So I let them go off my process. I let them, isn't that the new thing, the let them theory?
Yeah.
I let them derail everything.
Yep.
And who was I to say after I let them do 77 revisions without charging them that all of a sudden I was going to now start charging them and hold that over their head that typically I do this. Like, I just think, yeah, I learn with every project, that's for sure.
I think that's everyone. I think everyone has that moment where they're realizing, and then I think a little bit of it is that you're coming into your own confidence in that situation where the right client or the clients that I really like, I've had, and I will get them again. So I don't need to force myself to just take this anymore because I know that I'm going to get the right clients. I don't need to jump and for this hustle thing that I, because I think that scarcity feeling on all of us, when you have someone, it's that moment when you're listening to the red flags and you're just like giving yourself excuses as to why, well, maybe they're having a bad day or maybe this is going on. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, even though that's not really true, Yeah.
And like a red flag, I don't think also means they're like a bad person or a mean person.
No.
I've got a client that I sent a potential client, I sent a contract to and a proposal. I was excited to move forward. They asked a round of questions that I was like, fine to ask questions, but like those are a little red flaggy to me. And then they came back a second time, about to sign the contract. I had a couple more questions and they asked like 4 what I would call more red flag questions. I'm inundated with business right now. I just don't have, like, I'm not desperate. So we did go back to them and just said, you know what? I don't think we're going to be the right fit. There are many other wonderful local designers I'd be happy to refer you to that have a different kind of business model. Would you like some referrals? And she actually said yes. And we sent them over and that was that. But she was awesome and lovely. Like, I would totally be her friend, but just, I don't think my style of working fit her style of designing.
Right. Yeah. And what her expectations might have
Yeah,
been. So House of
totally.
Huck, how is that? That's a pretty distinctive name. I love it, by the way. How did you come up with it?
Well, my last name's Huck, and
Yeah.
design, I'm
But
houses,
why didn't you
so
go with the traditional, Meredith Huck design, interior design?
I think
Why
going
did you
back
go house?
to you can do whatever the hell you want,
You
and
can.
I love it.
like
Yes. Yeah.
YOLO. I honestly didn't even consider like Meredith Huck interiors, but I'm glad
Really?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you feel like
I
you
gave
have a little
zero
bit
thought, Lori, if
more?
we're being completely honest.
Really? Okay. Then, well, that's kind
You're
of
right.
interesting because it does allow you I feel like the brand feels that that name leads into maybe doing other things too. So that's kind of gives you some flexibility
Oh,
there.
well, you'll have to stay tuned to some things that are coming out this spring, my friend.
Oh, good. So your website describes you as coastal casual with livable luxury, which I think I love anything that's alliteration. Lori Leisure.
House of Huck.
It's House of Huck. How do you balance that feeling of comfort and relaxation with true luxury? How do you do that for your clients?
So I mentioned that my ideal client is like me in the phase of life, like because I get you and I know what's going on, and 100% of my clients are like, but we don't want to spend a lot of money on the upholstery because we have kids. And I'm like, you're wrong. That's actually when you want to spend the money
Exactly.
with the Krypton pump,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
Like
right,
I want the chocolate stain to just wipe right off my white couch.
See?
right.
So I would say we have a very neutral and I was gonna say plain, not plain, simple palette that we always like to start with, except for like an office or a powder room. Those are fun to just be like super duper loud. But I do like to start with a very casual, simple, neutral base palette. So that's like the upholstery or the rug, and just bring in textured elements and dimension. I love a textured wallpaper. Oh my goodness. We did this hand comb plaster, a Schumacher wallpaper in one of my clients' dining rooms. It's cream, so it's not loud, but when you
Yeah.
get up close, it will take your breath away.
So livable luxury, getting back to
Yeah.
that, you layer in. I know. Speaking of the textured wallpaper, there's a company that I found recently that I've been kind of
Oh,
obsessing about.
mhm.
It's a printer manufacturer because that was back in my old days. Like I knew the printer people, and this company Rollin came up with like a printer that does a textured wallpaper. It's so cool. It prints like this chemical on the print. So it does any print you want, whatever. And then it prints the chemical and it goes through the process and it heats it up and makes a 3D texture. So if you want flowers that feel like you touch it and like feels like an embossed
I
flowers,
love
it's so cool. I'm dying about it. I'm obsessing
whose
every time
house
I
we put
see.
it in. Yeah.
So
I feel
it's used in Kips Bay. Nikki Levy did the Kips Bay Palm Beach house, and if I don't know if you saw her stuff, but like she did the hallway, and it got like front page feature because she did this beautiful rug that was floral, and then she copied the rug into the ceiling, and that was with the material. It was so cool.
Wow.
I
It's so
think
stunning.
the textured accents bringing in, I always joke in my design presentations that like I'm going to say the word texture and dimension 3,472 times, and I'm
Yeah,
sorry. There's such unexpected moments, and that's what I love. I want you to maybe like the bar has a leathered instead of a honed countertop. So like when you
right,
touch it, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
See?
Or
right.
even like the hardware having a reeded detail on it. You can't see that from far away. At least I can. I'm like blind as a bat, but I go up and open the hardware. I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
Pillows that have some texture or dimension. That's really this this juxtaposition between livable but luxury, right? Like
I
this
love.
and I know it is, my girlfriend Jamie makes fun of me. That's such an overused term. I need to like figure out what else I can say, but I want the homes to feel very luxurious. Like I love when you walk into a home and you're like, "Oh, you have a designer because this is amazing." But not like, remember when we all grew up with the sitting room that you're like, "Oh, we're not allowed in that room." Like,
Exactly.
no, I
Yeah.
want to play and do all the things. So
Right,
that's,
right.
it's a challenge. It's definitely every time, like I said, it's a sale that I have to tell people, no, 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 we are going to spend $11,000 on your sofa for sure.
Right. Right. But you're gonna be
And
you're gonna be happy that it's holding up.
Yeah,
And then you
exactly.
want to have,
I had a
and
girlfriend,
then
a client of mine, whose son had a bloody nose, and she like called me and was like, Meredith, you will never guess where, like, he wiped his nose, I guess, and like then put his hand on the white boucle. Yeah. Sectional. Nope. She's like, I'll give you $100 if you can find out where it is. And the next time I was there, I was like, I literally have no clue. She's like, right here. I'm like,
See,
that is so fantastic.
and that
That's
was
that
14,000.
is what designers do, people. Like if you're listening and you're not a designer, that's the I think honestly an undersold version of what designers do is navigate the thousands and thousands of crap products that are out there to find the gems. Like you guys are
Yeah.
like so
Or
great at like this
Right.
is good, this is crap, and they could look exactly the same, but
Totally.
you know
They
why,
look
which one is
identical.
better. Yeah.
So I'm about to start a little Instagram series called Renovation, like design mistakes that I've made in my own home. And one of them is, now this is, furniture is, I got the Serena Lily Balboa stool dupe. Now I don't shop retail, so it's like such a curse word that I'm even talking about that. But Home Goods was selling it for like $199. So I got 4 of them. After this, I'm going to email you guys. They are destroyed, destroyed beyond measure. I should have paid the $900 and got the pallet check ones, or $1,100,
Right.
whatever it is.
Right.
But
I mean, you shouldn't be throwing furniture away in like a year because you know
oh,
what I mean?
for sure.
It looks
And all the,
beautiful, you know?
I think also talking about construction and renovations, I mean, really even furnishings. I just posted something that was my producer that I work with. She said, okay, you have 60 seconds to name all the design decisions in this one picture. It was a kitchen. First of all, I didn't even get through all of them, but it was, I mean, thickness of the counter, type of the counter, finish on the counter, the wood species, the stain, there were a million decisions, and people are like, oh, half the time people don't even know they have decisions, that you can pick the color of the welt on your
Right.
chair. Oh, you can change that? Yeah, you could do whatever you want.
Yeah. This
The
is
countertop
custom.
thickness.
You know, semi-custom, whatever. You're still able to pick whatever that is. And designers help you navigate those choices so that you're getting something truly special for you and without the chemical crap that's in some of this stuff that we have to kind of obsess about if we have kids running around like wiping their bloody noses all over everything.
Exactly.
So you have a site that says design beyond what the eye can see. Can you explain that? Is that part of what you're saying? Like it's all these little decisions?
It's all these little finite details that you don't even know were decisions. So I always talk about, like, you'll hear me talk a ton about like tile and the grout joint. Like, did you really know that you can have a 1/8 or a 1/16 or a quarter, and that's going to make it look completely different? Did you know that you could do a different tile termination edge? Like, there are all these decisions beyond what your eye can even see that we are supporting you with, that we are helping you navigate, that we are. And let me back up. I think sometimes when I share this, I get a little bit of pushback from contractors because they're like, well, we make those decisions. And you usually do. But we'll just talk about a kitchen. If you have a contractor that's working with a client and no designer, another example is countertops. Your contractor, you'd say you want Carrara marble, and that's the slab. They're going to get it and they're going to install it, and it's going to be beautiful. Excuse me. But like, did you know you can change the thickness of that countertop? Did you know you can miter the front of the sink to look like, a farmhouse sink with the marble? Did you know that you could do most people know you can do a waterfall, but like, there are many decisions that are just kind of made for you. That aren't wrong. It's not bad of the contractor to just install the countertop as is, but you don't know that you even have the option to change it.
You can have it polished. You can have it honed. You can have a different edge if you want it. You can, like, there's a million there. You're true. It's very true that in that decision too, like where, I've seen a million designers go to that stone yard and really like look exactly where the best veining is, and that's where that's gonna be the star of the show, and I'm gonna put it here. The contractors aren't doing that. I'm sorry, they're not. They're not.
And
They're not
not
going to the
them
stone yard to
not.
make sure they've got the best veins in the biggest like eyesight version of your countertops.
Yes.
Whereas a designer will take a map of it and go to the stone yard and place it and go, this is where it's the best. And that's the little details I think designers do that I don't even think clients know you do that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just not aware that that's an option. And I don't think said contractor is wrong because he doesn't go there or she doesn't go there and do
No.
anything. No one told them to. So why would they?
Right. Right. And they don't obsess about the way it's going to look in the same way that you do. So, it's just a different mindset and a different job. Your attention, designer's attention to detail, it just is a little bit more specific, I think, in that way. I mean, in contractor, it's all about timing and getting things correct and fast, in that timeline. And I think with designers, it's like the timeline is important, but
Right.
the details matter more,
Yeah. Yes.
So the advocacy changes, I think, in that section. But do you think that designers articulate that enough to their clients about what they're doing? Because I think that's I think that's a huge lost area of communication with a client. I think that it does take time and it is kind of like a step-by-step process the designer does, but they don't necessarily, the step that they always maybe drop off is telling the client they're doing it or explaining to the client how they do it so that they understand they're getting the value from that.
So I was just speaking with a girlfriend of mine who's in business development for the industry, and she's putting an event on, and she asked me if there were any builders that I wanted to meet. So I gave her a list. I said, but I don't know them. Like, they could be great builders. This is just from their websites, from their portfolio, from the,
Sure.
I'm on Instagram a lot. So from their Instagram. So I was like, if any of them are bad, certainly let me know. But she said, okay, what are like the most important things for builders for you? I said, can I curse on this? I won't curse. Don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Follow through and, execute the work. Don't be a jerk again. And communication. So to your question on, do you think they know? You have to over communicate. You have to over articulate. You have to keep updated documentation. I'm very big on QR codes because old school, I think you were delivering spec books to the job site or delivering invoices or delivering even architectural drawings, elevations, and then they changed Friday at 4:43 p.m., but you don't get to the job site till Tuesday and the tile's already installed and now it's wrong and whose fault and all the things.
Exactly.
If you have a QR, you can literally update it.
It's live
at your computer.
Yep.
And it's
Yeah.
live.
Yep.
Yeah.
So over communicating, not just with the clients, but with the trades. And what we try and do very much so is, especially between the kickoff meeting, the design presentation, for us, it's quiet. I don't need to talk to you. Like, rarely, maybe I'll reach out and be like, oh, I just noticed this weird thing. But other than that, like, there's just not a lot of reason to talk to you. But we still send emails and we still let you know what we're doing and what we're designing. And it's quite generic. I'm not like, hey, we're currently picking the powder room for above the chair rail in the powder. Like, we're not that detailed, but just like, hey, we're here, we're doing this. Hey, we're here, we're doing this. A lot of times site visits, clients aren't even home. We'll update them. We were on site. This is what we saw. Oh, it's looking so beautiful. The more that they know that we're there and we're helping and we're checking, we do have those QR codes that are on site. And actually it was the ice cream project. Lots of talk about ice cream. We went and the girls' bathroom tile was installed incorrectly. It was the right tile, but he started with a full piece at the bottom, which it was a 2x6, which all the way at the top of the shower left like a 1-inch piece.
Yeah.
It looked horrible. And that's
Right.
not what our information showed. That's not how our tile layout book was. So we went back to the client and we're like, hey, we're just here to give you the information. It's your money, it's your job. You make the decision. This is how it was supposed to be done. This is how it was installed. We just did a site visit. It's wrong. What would you like to do? Some clients were like, I don't even care. I just want my bathroom. Great.
Yeah.
They were like, we hate this. So we went to the tile installer, showed him the information, said it was wrong. He ripped it out. He bought new stuff. He installed it correctly. So those are like the things that I think are just so important and need to be communicated as best you can, as often as you can. Over communication.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right. I mean, I've talked to a lot of designers that didn't feel valued, often from clients, and I think that sometimes that is because of the lack of communication. It's not easy to do that layer of communication. We've been talking about how the tariffs are going to affect people, and everyone's suggestion is up the communication. I feel like designers are like, all right, how much can I talk to these people without them getting
Yeah.
annoyed too? So it's really hard when you're kind of always in the place of delivering news, delivering news, delivering news. So, but I want to ask a few other questions before we only have 15 minutes left, believe it or not.
What?
I
That's
know, it's so
crazy.
crazy. I know it's gone by so quick. What is your proudest moment at House of Huck so far? What was the best project so far?
Oh, the best project?
Uh-oh. Choose wisely.
Oh
I
my gosh.
know.
I mean, I did have an ice cream named after me, so
Yo,
Well,
there's
that
that.
is
yeah,
really, really
you
like
have
now
to.
you're famous.
Yeah.
Basically, I
I
know.
know,
Gosh,
right?
I hope I get a 10% discount on my next order with all my.
Right? And you'll have to sign autographs every time you code there. It's like a
Well,
whole thing.
my proudest moment, honestly, I just think like when the clients, I don't know if it's a single moment when they're just so, so, so happy
Yeah.
with how everything turns out. And I truly, and I feel very lucky, I just don't have clients that I don't like. And all my girlfriends are like, ugh, listen to this asshole client. Sorry, listen to this
Yeah.
terrible client. I'm like, wow, this feels really stressful. And I don't
Yeah.
have any of this.
Friend of mine who I love, Shannon Gem, who's Gem Design. We've been longtime friends. She's on our board, and she has said it so well. She's like, it's not even like they're even the asshole clients, right? It's just like not a good fit. And and I know you want the project and I know you want to make money, but do you really want to rob them of working with someone who likes them? That like
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
connects with them. Like in some ways not working with them lets them find someone that really genuinely likes them and
Mhm.
really wants that project. And sometimes it's an education thing. Sometimes they really truly just don't understand what design really is. They think it
Yeah.
is shopping like at a store because that's what
Well,
they
that
see on.
the client, yeah, the potential client. Again, it wasn't a personality. It was just like
No,
I don't.
oh, that was not a personality thing at all. But I'm just saying,
I don't
like,
think.
sometimes it's like they aren't a person, but sometimes it is kind of just like people don't necessarily always 100% click. Like, even if you like them as a person, like, I like you, but I don't think we would work style click. I don't think
Yeah.
that is the right thing for you or for me. And it does rob them from the ability to work with someone that they would have such a great working relationship with and probably
Totally.
enjoy the process, and that person might enjoy them. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
just know like I've met so many people in the design industry that I've clicked with a ton of people, and there's some people I haven't clicked with.
Not
And
so
that's just,
much.
it's,
Yeah. I think.
it's one of those things.
I think yes. Clickage is important, but there's
Yeah.
honestly just leaving corporate. I guess was really what I'm just so proud. I can't believe this is my job and a business and if you can hear the knocking right now, we're having our roof replaced because we're putting on an addition and a renovation and furnishings and like not for nothing. Thanks, House of Huck. Like business is good and it feels really
Yeah.
cool. This is
No,
my job. I'm
that is so
actually going to career day next month for the kids and I can't wait because it'll be my first
Yay.
career day out of corporate.
Nice.
Oh, that is so fun. That is so fun. So out of all the design stages of design projects, from the first meeting with clients to the final reveal, what's your favorite part of the process?
So I actually like the business development part. I like the even before their clients and just like cultivating that relationship. That's what I did in corporate and that's just like what I know I'm good at. And right now I'm building the business so I can actually have a lead designer that does most of that in between work and I'm more the face of the company and the brand that we're growing as well. But if you made me pick something between the kickoff and the installation, it's the reveal. Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I
yet
mean, that's
every
so fun.
time I'm always like, oh my God, I hope they like it. I hope they like it. And
Right.
I had a client 2 years ago that it was my first client I actually gave my phone number to. And she called me right after the install and she was crying. And I was like, is everything okay? And she was so happy with my heart. It was the first
Oh,
why are you crying?
Oh,
And
wow.
it was amazing. Just like, I
oh
mean,
gosh.
for people to host parties there and just love their space and know that we did that, that's like the best.
Yeah. I mean, that's like you're impacting someone's joy in their life. I mean, that's a real experience too, to
Yes.
have that, someone be that appreciative. That's awesome.
Totally.
What does your own home look like? The same? Like, are you in the beiges and comfortable with like lots of texture? Or is it
So I am. Having said that, Meredith of Corporate Days designed the house
okay?
and did the kitchen 7 years ago, which is why we are currently gutting our kitchen.
Yes.
We will have a nice, fun home reveal probably in a year because literally
Ooh.
we're like doubling the size of the house and renovating and turning the playroom into an office and turning the living room into a dining room and built a new family room. Literally, again, if you can hear the
Wow, this is
banging,
a huge project. That's
Nice.
this is
wonderful. Yeah.
these beautiful builder's grade doors will be no more. So if you come to my house now, you would not love it, but if you come in a year, you are going to die.
I can't wait. You're gonna have to show me pictures. I have to see. Do you have any guilty pleasures? We already know ice cream.
Oh yeah, duh. Like next book.
But is there anything you have that is a guilty pleasure in the home decor side? Is there something you just have to have?
No, I don't think so. I
No?
think my guilty pleasure is like Dateline at 9 o'clock on a Friday night with
Right, that's pretty
me.
good. I'm not gonna lie. Although I've since cured myself from watching crime shows. Irene did it for me, Niall. I have stopped. She
It's
made me
hard.
stop watching.
I know.
I've gone cold turkey. I haven't watched a crime show in like probably 2 years because
I'm
of
a
her.
crime junkie, but I'm also afraid of my own shadow, so it's not
Yeah,
a good combo.
yeah. If you had an unlimited budget and no constraints, what would be a dream project you'd want to tackle someday? Is there something you'd want to do out there in the world that would be, what would it be?
I grew up very, very fortunate in that my godmother and her sister had a house in Cape Cod,
Oh,
and we used to go there for about 3 weeks every summer. And 2 of the weeks so 5 weeks total, but 2 of the additional weeks, my grandfather had a condo in Nantucket. So he's since sold it, which is a very sensitive subject, but he grew up spending 2 weeks in Nantucket every year. And the memories that I associate with Nantucket does have the most delicious ice cream place ever in the history of life. But I just have, talk about core memories. It's in Nantucket, and that's just quintessential New England. And my dream, if anyone is listening, would be to design someone's vacation home from the ground up, furnish it in Nantucket.
wonderful. And do you know Nantucket has a design week? I don't know if you knew that, but it does. They have Nantucket Design Week and it's wonderful. You should absolutely go.
When
So
will you be there?
I think it's in the beginning. I think it's in June, I want to say, but June, July in that
Oh,
time
wow.
frame. And they last year I was doing something, so I was like busy. I think it was maybe it was August. I'm not sure. But I was busy. I was booked, but they went to Ellen Hildebrand's house as part of it. They went to her home, which is like obviously she writes
Casual.
all the bestsellers on
Casual.
Nantucket. So fantastic. And I do know some of the designers who are chairs and of the week. And I think Stacey Bukes is going to be part of it this year. So
July.
July. Wonderful. Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm very much thinking because it's on my bucket list for sure. Because I'm very much thinking about it because I too grew up going to the Cape. My grandparents had a house there. So we were in Dennisport, but I really actually have never been to Nantucket, which is crazy. I live in New Hampshire, but that's because we always went to the Cape. Like
Yeah,
I was
it
in the
is
Cape.
like if Nantucket, I mean, if New England could be like in a bottle, Nantucket is it. It's just so the cobblestone roads and the shake. It's just so.
I've had the ice cream because I have friends that have houses there. So I intend to do it, but I honestly, Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket have not been like when we go to an island, we're going to a real island. To another
Sure.
You know, so we're not usually we usually go to the Cape or we usually, because that's where I go to Sunday school at Cape for because I love that place too. They still have it.
Yeah.
Dennisport. Yeah.
Oh,
So
it is.
like,
Okay. There must be two then. I feel like there's
yeah,
one in Harwich too.
yes. Yeah. So I love, I've spent summers there. All the bunnies, riding your bike around.
Yes.
That's best
Yes.
summers ever
Okay.
for
So
sure.
it sounds like a date. See you in Nantucket in July, but
Yeah,
also see you in High
yeah,
Point in 2 weeks.
absolutely. It's a thing. And after a long day of designing and managing a business, what are your ways to unwind and something that is non-design related that you like to do to recharge?
I'm currently one of my 2025 goals that I'm doing average on is just going for walks. I live in a beach town, a coastal town, and my son goes to daycare right by the water. So just dropping him off and like attempting, it is hard to just unwind, even if it's just 30 minutes, like get on the boardwalk, go walk. If there's something about just being on the beach, like everyone smiles and waves and they're in a great, fantastic mood. As far as unwinding after a long day, as I mentioned, I do have children. There's not
Yes.
a ton of unwinding. Like right now, I can
Right.
hear someone upstairs getting ready for baseball practice.
Yeah.
So my kids are 7, 6, and 1. But if you can consider unwinding, I enjoy seeing them happy. I'm like anti-technology, which is so old school of me, but we live at a cul-de-sac. The kids are running around, they're playing at the friend's house, they're, riding their bikes down the street. One of these days I'll like read a book, but that's not the season of life, and
I
I'm
get
okay
it.
with that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm with you on the walks. I love them. I can't do without a walk. I think it's just like the best part of
And the
my
weather's
day
getting a little
almost.
bit nicer. You're
It
probably like 2
is.
weeks behind
Yeah.
me. Once the weather warms up and the sun is out, it's just like who can be in a bad mood when it's shining
Right.
in the water? Um,
Exactly.
so just being outside and moving my legs and not putting too much pressure on myself. I used to be back in the day quite athletic and fit and all the things, and now I'm like a walk is my form of exercise, and I'm okay with that.
Me too. I think it's one of those exercises you don't get hurt, so you can just keep
Yeah,
walking.
it's not bad for my knees.
No, I'm not gonna hurt myself. Like the runners, I'm always worried about their knees. I'm like, gee, yeah, I have friends that are big time runners and climbers. We're both knee replacements, and I turned 50 this year, so I'm like, no
Look at
thanks,
you, girl.
no thanks, no way, not me.
So
Trying to do my
funny.
exercises.
Yep. Wherever you can, work hard and then walk to work.
Well, thank you so much, Meredith. This was so exciting, and I cannot wait to see you at High Point. We're going to have so many fun memories there too, and I hope all of you go to her website, follow her, and see everything that she's about because she has a lot of really great business practices and shares them with you. So wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.